Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Em and today we are going to talk about my September TBR. So let's start off with talking about the books I'm going to read for my self-destructing TBR. If this is your first one of my videos, my self-destructing TBR is basically compiled from books that I bought last year. So last year I tracked every book that I brought home in each month, and this year I am reading all the unread books I still have from that month in the corresponding month for this year. And it's been great. It's worked out really well. I am allowed to DNF. I just have to attempt to read all the books on the shelf. Any that are unread by the end of the month, I have to unhaul. It's worked really well for me. August was kind of hard because I did have 5 books, and while I used to be predominantly a TBR kind of reader, I have in the last 2 years transitioned to being a very mood-led reader, and having 5 books that I had to read was a lot. Like, even though I read a lot in a month, having 5 books that I must read was it was a lot. It was a struggle. But this month I only have 2, kind of, which is exciting. So let's dive into that. So the reason I said kinda is because one of the books on my self-destructing TBR is a bind up of the Tensorit series by Neon Yang. So while this is technically like one book, I believe it's comprised of 4 novellas. So I haven't decided if I want to count the whole series as one book, or I mean for like logging and Storygraph. Or if I'm going to count each individual novella as a book. I don't know. Let me know what you would do. I'm tempted to just count them individually, but we'll see. And then the other book on my self-destructing TBR is The Wolf of Oren Yarrow by K.S. Veloso. I think that's how you say all the names. I have had this on my TBR for such a long time. Before I bought it last year, I have checked it out at the library multiple times. I have just circled this book so much. I think I'm going to love it, but I must be scared of it on some level because I really have been putting it off and putting it off. But no more. I will by the end of September. So these are my self-destructing TBR books. And I'm really excited. I've heard good things about the Tensorit series and Neon Yang. My bookseller, Bestie, she really likes this author and this series in particular. I actually bought it because she likes it so much. And then I've only heard really good reviews for The Wolf of Oren Yarrow on BookTube. So I feel like these could be big hits for me. All right, and then the rest of my TBR is really more of a possibility pile because of my I don't like being told what to do, even if it's by me tendencies. So what I'm saying is there's no guarantees with any of these books that I'm going to mention. But to start off with, I do have a book project that I'm going to be doing later in September, I think. So I'm not going to share those books now, but there's like 6 books that's on that particular TBR. So those I'm not going to talk about those, but I do already have 6 books there, just to keep that in mind. And then I haven't really read very much horror since Summerween ended, and I am kind of missing it and ready to go back in. So I have a few books I'm circling around. I really want to read The Wretched Waterpark by Kiersten, which is middle grade. I don't know why I want to read this, but I do. And I have the audiobook from Libro FM. And so I think I might read this one. It just looks like it could be a fun time. And now that I'm reading adult horror, I'd like to go back and try spookier middle grade more. I finished my reread of Murderbot. And so I told myself that when I finished my reread of Murderbot, I would start The Witch King by Martha Wells. So that's what I have to do now, though I'm pretty nervous. I haven't heard very good things about it, and I don't know. I just love Murderbot so much, and I've DNF'd one of Martha Wells' fantasy books before, and I just don't know if her fantasy is going to hit the way her sci-fi hits. So let me know if you've read this, and if you are also like a Murderbot fan, and how you felt about her fantasy, because maybe I'm just trying the wrong books. Maybe I'm going into it with the wrong mindset. I'm assuming she writes about, you know, a variety of characters, and they're not all Murderbot, but, you know. I also have The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams on my TBR. This is for a series read-along for Stephanie's Patreon. We read Ninth Reign in August, and now we're continuing on with the series. I didn't love the Ninth Reign. I thought it was okay, fine. It was good. I don't know. Not my favorite, which I think is more of a me problem than it is the book problem. But I am interested to keep going and see what happens. And I'm gonna try. There was some stuff going on, like in real life, when I was reading Ninth Reign, and so now that things have calmed down, I'm hoping I'll have a better time with The Bitter Twins. Fingers crossed. There we go. I do have 2 pre-orders in September. I have The Dark Lord's Daughter by Patricia Wrede. Y'all, I just found out about this a week and a half ago. I didn't know she was writing more books. If you followed me on Instagram for a while, then this will not surprise you. But Dealing with Dragons is the book that I credit with making me a reader. My mom gave it to me when I was 8, and it was the first book where after, like, she read a chapter to me at bedtime and tucked me in and left the room, is the first book where I turned my light back on and I kept reading without her because I wanted to know what was happening. And I've read the whole series so many times, countless times, and she's an author that I just absolutely love, and I'm so excited that she's writing more middle grade, and I'm so excited to read this. So I have this on pre-order. The other book I have on pre-order is from another childhood favorite. They're releasing new covers for the Lioness Quartet by Tamora Pierce, and so I have that pre-ordered. Of course, I've already read these multiple times as well, so it's not like I'm going to be bringing 4 books into my house that I'll then have to read. The covers are just so pretty. I have my original mass market paperbacks from when I was a kid, but honestly, they are all falling apart and in the worst shape, and it would be nice to have copies that I can hand to my kids to read without worrying that the book is just going to disintegrate in their hands, because the original covers are hands down my favorite. I love these new covers, but I mean, you just can't beat the original covers. So those are my 2 pre-orders. Will I buy more books this month? Who knows? I am technically on a book buying ban, but you know, that's a really stretchy concept around here, so we'll see how it goes. The other thing that I would like to do this month is I have a Libro FM account, and I have worked for an indie bookstore for 5 years now, maybe almost 6. Ooh, we might be coming up on 6. I'd have to do the math, but I was a bookseller there for 3 years, and for the last 2 years I have been their social media manager. So I'm not in the store, but I'm still super involved, and so I still get a lot of the bookseller perks that go along with that job. And if you are a bookseller, or you know someone who's a bookseller, or you're an influencer or a librarian or teacher, then you know that Libro has an influencer program, and then they also have a bookseller program where you get advanced listening copies early. And because of that, I have an atrocious number of audiobooks on my Libro account, like a truly overwhelming number of audiobooks. And so I would really like to try to work through a big not a big chunk, but a chunk of those Libro audiobooks. And so I'm thinking I might do, because I have a lot that are really short, so I'm thinking I might do a week where I just listen to as many of those audiobooks as I can. I'm not quite sure what that will entail. I'll probably do a lot of the shorter ones, which will be like, I have some short nonfiction, I have some poetry collections, I have a lot of middle grade. A lot of middle grade. That's going to be coming up. What other projects do I want to do? I have a stack of ARCs, physical ARCs that are left over from being a bookseller, and some that I've been given by my bookseller friends, and I would like to also really prioritize those as well. This is turning into a video projects that Emily has planned for September video instead of a September TBR video. That's okay. So I also might do an arcathon later this month, which I can have just be me doing an arcathon, or if you would also like to participate, let me know, and maybe like on Instagram I can make it a thing that we do together. That could be fun. So there's that. So those two projects, my secret project. I think those are the, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and then I think I got distracted. I do want to read more horror. So I might have a horror specific vlog sometime in September as well, because I do want to read more spooky middle grade, but then I also just want to read more horror in general. And so I'm trying to figure out, because I'm still trying to figure out what exactly my horror taste is. Oh, and then the other thing I'm planning to read is, I read A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik back in January and had a good time with the audiobook, and I meant to keep going and then I never did. And my sister's partner just recently finished the whole trilogy, and he doesn't have anyone to talk to about them. So I placed a hold on all the audiobooks at my library. School bus just went by, so I turned super yellow. But I have a hold placed on all the audiobooks at the library, and I am going to try and reread Deadly Education and then read as much of that trilogy as possible in September so that he and I can talk about those books. So that is it, I think, for my September TBR. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think should definitely be on my wrap up at the end of the month, what I should definitely prioritize. If I've mentioned anything that you think is not worth my time, let me know. This was a really rambly video, I feel like. Oh, thanks for hanging in there with me. Let's do a dragon emoji, since we talked about dealing with dragons. All right, thank you so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, wherever you are in the flat circle we call time, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.